Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. Well, we're just going to continue our discussion on miracles and healings. Now, there's some great biblical miracles that we just outside of healing, feeding the multitudes. People raised from the dead. There were, in addition to Jesus being raised from the dead at the resurrection, people came out of their graves. Elijah outruns a chariot. The sun stands still in the sky when Joshua is fighting a battle. The wedding feast at Cana, which, they fill the pots up with water and it turns to wine. Elisha tells the woman to go fill jugs for oil. And theoretically, he never tells her how many. He says, get as many as you can and just keep filling. Balaam and the donkey. Now, of course, that would get my attention if I were Balaam, that my donkey was speaking to me. I think that would get my attention. Or if one day I went out for a walk with my dog and she started telling me, I don't want to go down that street. I don't like that street. I don't like the dog on the corner. And, it would kind of get my attention. And then, of course, the metal serpent on a pole, where they built a metal serpent and people got healed by looking at it. So these are miracles outside the realm of healing. However, let's take a look at Isaiah 38. In those days, Hezekiah was sick and near death, and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, went to him and said to him, thus says the Lord, set your house in order, for you shall die and not live. Wow, that's a terrible prophecy by a well-known prophet. Isaiah was a true prophet. Then Hezekiah turns his face towards the wall and prayed to the Lord and said, remember now, Lord, I pray, I have walked with you in truth and with a loyal heart, and have done what is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. And the word of the Lord came to Isaiah, saying, go and tell Hezekiah, thus says the Lord God of David your father, I've heard your prayer, I've seen your tears. Surely I add to your days 15 more years. Well, then there was a sign given. There was a sign given that, what's the sign? He says, well, look, I need a sign. And he says that the shadow would go backwards from the sundial. And that is unnatural. But I also believe that Isaiah was a true prophet. So his word was true. However, because of the God switched up and gave 15 more years, the original prophecy had to be undone. And then Isaiah could give another word that said, you have 15 more years. Now, whether it's a healing or a miracle, here's another deal. He said in verse 21, Isaiah says, look, let's take a lump of figs and apply it as a poultice on the boil, and he shall recover. So in other words, we had what was counted as medicine in those days, and then we have, a reversal of a prophetic word about getting your affairs in order. Is that a healing or a miracle? Well, my rabbinical friends would say yes. You say, yes, what? Yes, is it a miracle, or yes, is it a healing? And they would say, yes, it is a healing and a miracle. We never know how God will do what he will do, and when he will choose to do it. In Exodus chapter 15, he says, if you would diligently heard the voice of the Lord your God, and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Jeremiah 30 says, for I will restore health to you and heal you of your wounds, says the Lord. Because they called you an outcast, this is Zion, no one seeks her. So the implication here is not only physical wounds, but also spiritual wounds. And that sometimes those wounds are even greater than something in the natural. So that God says, I'm going to heal you and restore you. God bless you guys. See you again next time.